Lesson 67 on page 97. We continue with the doxology of first hijos. No. That's our ison. If you want to hold ison while I chant, that would be a great idea. Ni pavugadi ke di ke di gadi bugadi pavugadi pavugadi di ke gadi Digavu, digavu, pavu, pam. Ευλογητός Κύριε, ο Θεός των πατέρων ημών και ενετών και δε δοξασμένον το όνομα σου εις τους αιώνας. Αμήν. Ζω και δι και ζω και δι γαβου γαδί γαδί γαβου 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 παβου πα. Γεννήτω Κύριε, το έλεος σου εφήμας, καθά περιρπήσαμεν επισέ. Πα, νίζο και βου, βουγαδί, γαβου, πα, και γαδί, γαβου, παβου, πα, ευλογητός Κύριε. Δίδαξον με τα δικαιώματα σου. Did you notice the antigenomon? Ευλογητός Κύριε. Maybe that's a little bit exaggerated, but Antigenoma has this jerk of the voice, so you need to raise it a little bit above the normal height in a jerky wave of the voice. Excuse me. Gedi pavu gadi kezo kedi di gadi gabu gadi kedi di gabu gadi di. Zoi ke di ga vu pa. Kyrie καταφύγει εγεννήθης ημίν εν γενεά και γενεά. Εγώ είπα, Κύριε, ελέησον με, ίασε την ψυχήν μου, ότι μαρτώνσι και ke di ga bu ga di ke ga di di ke zo ke di ga bu ga pa bu pa Kyrie προσέκατε φύγον διδαξών με του πίντο θέλημά σου ότι εσύ ο Θεός μου και δίγα βουγαδί Ugadi ke diga bu pa Oti parasipi zois endofotni su obzomethafos di ke ga u ga di ga bu ba bu di ga bu ba bu ke di ga bu pa παράτινον το έλεος σου της γήνος που είσαι Άγιος ο Θεός Άγιος ισχυρός Άγιος αθάνατος ελέησον ημάς. Since this is the first time we chant the doxology, I wanted to show you the places where the chanter should make the sign of the cross. Remember that you are chanters, not musicians or entertainers. So it's your responsibility to teach people when is the right place to make the sign of the cross. Άγιος ο Θεός, Άγιος ισχυρός, Άγιος αθάνατος ελέησον ημάς. I think at the beginning of the Άγιος ο Θεός, you can just make your sign of the cross once. At Doxa Patri, always sign of the cross. You do not need to do the sign of the cross at Genin. Why? Because the doxology is at the Doxa Patri Keio, and that's a reason for you to make the sign of the cross. Genin Kiai means now and forever and to the ages of ages. It's just a continuation of that glorification that you just said, Doxa Patri. So you don't need to make the sign of the cross twice because it's like you split the meaning of one sentence. Ke di ke ga di ga bu ga di. Quick comment. Κλάσμα, ότε μεν παλόμενον, ότε δε ημίσιαν αργίαν. That's something that my teacher used to say. I haven't found it anywhere in any theory book. It may have been just tribal knowledge. I don't know what it is, but it basically means klasma. Sometimes is pallomenon, meaning it has a waving of the voice. It has a palmos or a vibration. Sometimes it's vibrated. Ode de os imisia argia, and sometimes like a half rest, a half pause. That means that where you see klasma and you need to take a breath, you can pause it for half of that thesis, well, for the arsis, or for half of that beat, let's say, and take a breath. You can make it half a pause. That's what it means. Δόξα Πατρί και Υιό και Αγίο Πνεύματι και νυν και αεί και εις τους αιώνας των αιώνων. Αμήν. Και δίδυ και ζω και δίγαβου παam. What we are going to chant next is called the Asmatikon, and is basically Aios o Theos, the Trisaios ύμνος, Aios o Theos, Aios Ischiros, Aios Athanatos, 3 times Aios, Trisaion. It's called the Asmatikon, part of the doxology, and if you notice, we always chant it a little bit slower. So, you remember when we talked about tempo and rhythm? This is tempo, χρονική αγωγή. This is the actual time from one beat to the next beat. So we slow it down. It has nothing to do with how we arrange the beats. It just means that you chant it slower. The alpha chanter chants the Aios o Theos, Vita chanter, or the left chanter, Aios Ischiros, Aios o Theos, Aios Ischiros, Vita chanter. Aios Athanatos eleison imas as one sentence is chanted by the alpha. All of this slow, and then the Vita chanter chants the Simeron Soteria, coming back to the fast tempo that we chanted the rest of the doxologia. As a matter of fact, that's a point I forgot to make. Because we are teaching these doxologies now, that's why I'm using slow tempo, and chronos απλούς, simple tempo, and slow, because I want to teach it first, and that's how you always teach. That's how you should always approach a new piece of music, a new score of Byzantine music: slow and simple tempo. These are the two key things: slow, simple tempo. Know your hijos, know the systatica of the hijos, know where you're getting into, know the bases, know the klimaga, understand if this is irmologic or sticheraric by looking at the main notes, at the cadences. Chant it slow, simple tempo, never double, simple tempo. And then if you have to go to a faster tempo at church, you can do it faster. And you can even use διπλούς χρόνος, διπλών χρόνο, double counting. Note that we have two final cadences. This is some kind of a peculiarity for the doxology alone. We have a final cadence here at the end of Asmatikon. It's like the end of doxology here. So you end it, final cadence, but the priest doesn't say anything up until you finish the Simeron Soteria. Okay, so you have another final cadence at Simeron Soteria, and after you say και το μέγα έλεος, the priest is going to say ευλογημένη η βασιλεία του πατρός, and we enter liturgy. Let's do the Asmatikon. I am taking a little bit more time because it's the first doxology, and I want to explain this little typikon aspects of it. I'm not going to do the same thing for all the other doxologies, but I wanted to explain it at least once. Δίγαβου παύου, γαδίγαβου γαδίδι, γαδίδι, βουγαδίγαβου παύου, γαδίγαβου γαδίδι, Ah, ye, oh, si, excuse me. O si, si, ros, que zodi, que zoni, zoni, zo, que di, ga, ke, di, ga, bu, ga. Ga di ga bu ba pa ni pa bu pa I os athanatos elei zoni ma as Synthesmos or Heteron, Digorgon, Tripli. Ai or ai. Why do we have two different performances? One symbol, two different performances. One is slower than the other one. There are people, they can be very nimble with their voice and they can say, I, for example, I'm able to do it. If the tempo was any faster, I would not be able to do it. Okay? There are people, they cannot do it in this very embellished way. Nothing wrong with that. They can do it the simple way. As a matter of fact, if you listen to Iagovos Nafpliodis, many times you're going to see a syndesmos, and he's doing it the simple way. Nothing wrong with that. Uh, I mean, if Iagovos Nafpliodis does it, it's perfectly fine. It's more than perfectly fine. That's how we should be doing it. But there are other chanters that they're doing it in a little bit more embellished way. So what I'm trying to say is one symbol for many different throats, for many different people, and even for the same person, you may not be feeling well that Sunday. You may be a little bit under the weather. It might be a piece that it's slow or fast. In this case, it's slow. Maybe it's another occasion. So we interpret these symbols not exactly and mathematically, singularly, literally, and accurately. We do not do that. We take them as suggestions that they suggest how to perform each particular situation within tradition. So it's not outside of tradition. All of these performances are within tradition, but each performance has a place and a time. Okay. Di buga diga bupa. Digorgon, thesis. These two go on the arsis. Thesis. Arsis, thesis, because this is syneches elafron with glasma that prolongs the beat. Agios. Do you remember when we talked about the dadet gorgon? The one that, let's say that you had a dot here. Now I say siros because if you had a dot back here, is going to push this very close to this thesis. Schiros dotted parastigmenon gorgon. The same thing, it can happen with the gorgon. You can put a dot here or a dot on the other side. Why am I mentioning that? Because most of my Gorgon and the Gorgon are not really exactly at the center of the arsis. And this is something that I do uh, without thinking much about it, because in the older books, they very rarely indicate stixis or the dots left and right. It's up to the chanter to do it in any way they feel within tradition. And the same thing goes with the Gorgon. For example, Aios, you can do it exactly at the center, very centered. Yios, or you could say yios, you can delay it a little bit. Okay, that would be dotted to this side. Anyway, this is a detail. I just wanted you to know that it's possible to have dotted the Gorgon as well as Gorgon. We come back to the fast tempo, and the Vida chanter says, di ga di ke di ga ga bu ga di ke di bu ga di ke di ga di ga ga bu pa ga di ke di ke zoni zo ke di zo zo ke di ga bu ga di ga bu pa ni pa bu pa. Τελική κατάληξης, slower tempo. Argon makes this kendimata go on the arsis, prolongs the oligon. Let's chant it melos. Σήμερον σωτηρία το κόσμο γεγονέν ασωμεν το Αναστάντη εκτάφου και αρχηγό της ζωής ημών καθέλων γαρτό θάνατο των θάνατων, τον οίκος εδώκεν ημίν και το μέγα ελεος. Okay, thank you very much for being with me today. I will see you next time when we're going to start the Doxologia of Hijos Defteros. Thank you and see you next time.